it one and all. Join in the chorus, North Melbourne's on the ball. Good old North Melbourne, they're champions, you'll agree. North Melbourne is the team that plays to win for you and me. Sing it one and all. Join in the chorus. North Melbourne's on the ball. Good old North Melbourne, they're champions, you'll agree. North Melbourne is the team that plays to win for you and me.
Welcome back, shin boners. What a win. Made it a lot tighter than it needed to be, but we got the 4 points. So we've assembled the Roovengers, not the Avengers. We've got the Big Chief joining us. We've got Fredo. We'll start with you, Frog. How did you find the game? What was your biggest takeaway?
Oh, awesome. It's just great to get that win. For me, probably the leaders in the moments. I think a few of them stood up this weekend. We'll get into that as we go on.
And I will say a big congratulations to you. It's your first winning review pod. I think you're about 0 and 10 before that.
About right, yeah.
Well done.
A bit like George, yeah. We're a bit like that.
He can't help himself. He cannot help himself.
I agree. Let's talk about George.
What about you? What was your biggest takeaway, Chief, after yesterday's win?
JD, Jack Darling was worth the investment. A lot of doubters. I'm looking at one right now, square in the eye.
Well, you're looking in the mirror.
No, I'm looking at you. And he certainly paid his wage on Sunday.
Yeah, my biggest takeaway from yesterday is that winning ugly doesn't matter. We just had to get the 4 points. And that first quarter was a glimpse into the future with the ball movement and the young talent taking over, led by McKercher and co. And we'll get into that now with our match notes. But I just want to say as well that the stoppage and contest numbers were through the roof yesterday. So it was a real arm battle in there. And
Arm battle or an arm wrestle?
Arm wrestle. And Nank versus Big X was the contest we all thought it was going to be, and the two mids went head to head. But
all that and more.
Yeah.
Hank and X are two of the best on the ground. Both teams.
So the first quarter, we finally won one. We kicked 6 straight. They kicked 2 goals, 1.
Yes, and after the arm wrestle, when we broke it into the open, we were the far better side, and I thought, this would be a good game for Baz, sitting there with his cheese board and the members.
No cheese board. And we didn't have level 2 balcony access, so we were down with the people in level 1.
The people and the members.
Yeah.
The MCC elite.
No, it's AFL members as well.
Hello, chaps. Welcome.
But no, before we get into our match notes, I did meet one of our listeners. I was just having a chat to my mate who was there and Mrs. Baz, and he came up and said, "Are you Baz?" And I said, "Oh, yeah." And it was Dave, and it was lovely to meet Dave. And guess what he had on, Chief?
Well, if I know, I can't guess. Ask for Frog, because you've already told me what he had on.
Underneath his button-up shirt, the Shin Bonus podcast shirt.
Oh, really?
He had it
Nice.
on. So he was donning the merch, which you've given me shit for because I wasn't.
And were you donning the merch?
No, I had my Gernzie on.
Yeah, but under that, did you have your merch?
I had to wear my collared shirt, chap.
Yeah, but under that, so he was sitting next to you, wasn't he?
That guy had have to cover it up coming in. We just say.
No.
So once
Automatic
again,
access wearing that shirt.
Once again, Baz has gone to the football, been met by a listener, and not wearing any merch. So the listeners identified you from your mug.
Dave. His name's David.
Oh, Dave. I didn't meet him. I wasn't invited.
No.
Can't get in the MCC elite.
But it was great to
But
meet
why
him.
aren't you wearing merch?
Oh, because I'm a Gernzie on.
It's about third time. It doesn't matter. We've got caps. We've got stubby holders. Well, I suppose you couldn't fit your Chardonnay, Dom Perignon in your stubby holder.
Let's get into...
But for those,
No, firstly...
For those with a keen eye, after Colby McKercher's goal, we see him on screen, behind the chap with his little cap on.
His little pink cap.
Yeah, just to the right of that, as you look at it, there's Baz there, cheering away, a little clap.
Yeah, a little golf clap.
It's on the... Yeah, what? You got to get up and about. You were on your best behaviour in the MC. Didn't want to get evicted.
Out.
No, I was up and about. That was after I'd already stood up and giving it the big come on, and then sat back down and just clapping.
So he was a bit late to the party.
He was way late. He was waiting for the me time.
No,
But
he
good.
He got a follow up later in the game, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. But yeah, after Colby's first goal in the first quarter, you will see the Bazzers mug on there.
Anyway, let's get
with
into...
no merch, and because this is about the third time you've gone to the football, you've been caught on the camera with no merch. You're on the watch list. There you go. You made the list.
Can we just get into some football chat for our listeners? I don't want to hear this waffle.
Okay, that's early waffle, but you're on the list.
So the first quarter, just absolutely scintillating football. We won a first quarter. We played really, really well. Who's got some match notes? Because I didn't take any first time ever. So get into the notes of what we saw in the first quarter.
All right. Well, I took a lot of notes, and then my doctor's writing as usual. So I've summarised into positive and negatives, if you like. So rather than do quarter by quarter, unless the frog, of course, probably got a spreadsheet.
Well, I actually have. But
Yeah.
Oh, well, you go.
That's not a.
You go, Frog. That's why you're
it's
on.
just dotted points. So.
What did you like in the first quarter?
The fact that we kicked 6 goals straight, that's good, and we kicked the first goal. So I'll just go with positives. So if we remember the first goal, Foz, that lovely weighted kick to the big zoo.
My man.
Yeah, they positioned well, and JD put a little bit of a block on to help him out. Another 1%er for JD. I think the second goal was from the next bounce, and JD again competed well. Handball that great one to Colby, then LDU got a goal. It's good to see him hit the scoreboard a bit more.
That's what we need from him.
And do you want me to keep going with the goals?
Yeah, keep going.
We love it. It's good to kick. Larky, good handball out to JD for his first goal. I didn't realise how much JD was involved till the rewatch, to be honest. No, he played well, but certainly spiked up after the rewatch. And was Finbar competed well and got the great tackle and slotted it from 50. I don't know how he made the distance.
I said to
That was
the
a big
bloke in
floater.
front of me, because they were just casuals at the MCC, they didn't support either side, and he said, "What's the chances of this bloke?" And I said, 1%.
Yeah,
And
load
he
up for a
slotted
point.
it. He
Yeah.
slotted
On
it.
his VFL exposed form
Yeah.
from last year, he was, less than 1%, I'd say. But good on him. A little sort of floating dart, wasn't it?
It was magnificent. And
The crowd were up. And just while we're on Finbar, a bit of a side note, did you watch Channel 10 News?
No.
They had the Moose, the cult figure from Arden Street. He was on the Channel 10 News, and he brought back, if we play our way, we'll win more. If we play North Ball, he's dropped the North Ball bomb on the Channel 10 News.
Oh, that's been dead and buried for a while.
Oh,
but
it's
back.
He and George are carrying it.
George brought it out last year, didn't he?
Oh, love
Anyway,
it.
so the big Moose, he's out. The secret's no longer contained in Arden Street.
Well, let's talk about some
there's
positional
another-
stuff, because we saw Harry Sheasel mid-forward.
Yes, I like it.
Who I was a big fan of it as well. And then Bailey Scott, I was absolutely dumbfounded when he was picked in the 22 and Zane was the sub.
Yeah, I was
And-
dumbfounded when he was in the 23, and then to be promoted to the 22. Well, I can see why, because he's been the sub a couple of weeks, but I thought he'd be playing a full game in the VFL.
Well, we'll keep going with your negatives, with your
I've got
positives
another
first before we get to
but
negatives.
I think I skipped the fourth goal. I think you probably would have had a good look at that. LDU's gut run from the half back line. He's just sprinted to receive from, I can't remember who, and then set up Zoo for the second goal. That was something that LDU does really good. He's just burnt the Richmond opposition and sprinted to that.
and a really
that
good
was a
kick,
great run.
a really
Yeah,
good
really
deep
good
kick
Yeah.
to Zoo. Just laced him out.
Yeah.
Didn't have to do too much work, the Zoo.
And let's get on my
Just
man.
finish.
On my man Cam, the ball had our followers on X would have got the exclusive that he was doing a warm up with our man Kevin before the game, and it's been revealed now that he had a burst artery in his foot, so he had to get the size 15 hoofs on from Matty Whitlock, because he's usually only a size 13. Had to use the size 15 boots, and he just loves playing the MCG. He's a big game player, my man Cam, and slotted through the 4, and a great game from him. But we'll get to a
Didn't he
couple of
have
his later on.
A virus as well in the lead up as well as
Yeah.
the foot. So a couple of that's I reckon entry for CCC discussion there.
He's not going in that.
He's above that. We can be in both,
He's
can't he?
That's a swagger man.
Well, he might have to be in both if you're good
he's
enough.
Not going there.
No room in the t-shirt.
No.
Well, you want a response from the CCC? No. Just a simple no.
All right.
You've got to understand what CC stands for. It's unconditional every time.
Now
And if you don't understand, have a look at X and George.
now enough about your waffling on the CCC. Someone I want to give a big shout out to who I thought had a fantastic first quarter was our leader, Jai Simpkin. Tough week for him with the loss of his nan, but he came out and he really kick-started us. I think he had 7 or 8 touches in the first quarter. The Jai step was there, and his use was really good.
Fend off on the boundary, couple of shimmies, a fend off, good use, and I had him best on at quarter time.
Yeah, I can't. Was it the McKercher goal where he got it from Tom Powell?
Quick.
It was on the ground.
Really quick.
That was the
hands.
last goal of the quarter for us, anyway.
That was elite from Tom Powell on the ground to hit that moving target, and he had a lot of the ball too. Tommy
he had
Powell.
11 in the first, and he was tackling really well, and so as we've mentioned, Colby and obviously George, but that was some pretty important moments, and they stuck some really good tackles when Richmond were thinking they're going to break away and locked in. They've been probably criticised for that. Well, not George, but the other two have.
Yeah, and a big shout out to Colby McKercher. 10 tackles in the first half. I mean, we've been a little bit hard on him in terms of some of his defensive efforts, so absolutely give him his flowers. And another positional thing we didn't really mention was he playing a lot more midfield time. One of my mates sitting next to me sort of questioned that, and I thought, well, seeing they were quite a smaller midfield Richmond, so it was a perfect matchup for him to go in there, and he really showed us what he can do and how damaging he can be with ball in hand. What were your thoughts on his game, Chief?
Well, I thought he was really good. He had one glaring error with the missed tackle, which resulted in a Goal of the Year nomination, so no doubt we'll see that many times. But after that, like you said, 10 tackles, stuck them all. The bigger ground of the MCG would suit him, but he did his best work in tight, in the stoppages. Really quick hands, really good decisions. And I thought it was his best game of the year, clearly. And you could almost make it the best game for the club. I know he's had 35 off half back, but this was in the crunch area of around the stoppages, and really clean, good use by foot as well. A couple of really good switches, aggressive switches, forward to centre, which set up goals or score involvements.
Right.
Yeah, he worked into the back line at times too, and I think you see a loose ball, and often he used to wait, not because he didn't want to go in, but he's been told, we want to give it to you. He was seeing the ball and thought, no, I'll go get it. I've never seen him do that as much, he's normally waiting to get the flick out, isn't he?
Yeah, and he took the contact really
he took
well
the
as
contact
well.
Got the handball, didn't get the holding the balls against him. So,
any other positives before we get to the negatives of the first quarter? Because I've got a couple.
I've done a game review, not a quarter by quarter.
Right. Well, Aiden Core had a shocker. I mean, let's just call it what it was. He gave away 4 free kicks in the first quarter, and majority of them were there. So frustrating. He had one of the worst individual efforts I've seen on a football field. I can't remember what quarter it was, where he sort of half impacted the contest and then had the worst attempt at a tackle. And the Richmond player kicked a goal. Can't remember who it was.
no,
You'd have it there, but really disappointed with his game, and in a game where I thought the back line really went. Let's just touch on the back line actually.
in the third quarter.
Yeah, third quarter. So I thought Elmac was pretty solid. I thought Chom played really well. Toby Pink had highs and lows, but you can never question his effort. What were your thoughts on Caleb Daniel?
Well, he had a horrendous turnover where he dribbled along the ground, I think. But he had a really good third quarter. I was pretty happy with his third quarter. Just on Caleb Daniel, he hasn't received a vote in the most prestigious. And what was that on your bingo card at round 10 or whatever we're up to?
No.
No, I thought he'd be top 3. No, probably not top 3. No. But if you look at McKercher last year playing the same role, you look at Harry the first year, or 2 years ago, his first year, playing the same role, you brought a senior bloke in, hasn't got a vote. That's pretty damning. But he wasn't too bad yesterday. It was probably his best game for the club outside the pre-season, I'd say.
Boy.
Well, his best game.
Yeah.
He's been pretty poor.
Yeah.
Hasn't got a vote. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and luckily enough, that shank didn't end up. I think it rolled to Larky or someone. He got lucky with that one. It was that a lot of them do dribble like LDU. He kicks really shit sometimes. Simpkin does, so we can't just the supporters can't just pile on Daniel when they're the ones we love, but they've been there longer, do it a lot.
LDU had one in the last quarter where he kicked it about 3 metres off his shin, and that was right in front of me.
The Moose kicked one and went about 5.
Yeah. His tackling pressure, though.
Yeah, he was good.
Really good.
While we're on the back line, right? we need better kicks there, because too often when we went with a long kick down the line, it was turned over. It was never to the advantage. If it was a 1-on-1 or a 2-on-2, it was never to our advantage, and it got intercepted time after time. And I'm looking at Core, Pink, and Elmac, right? Daniel can't do it because he can't kick over a jam tin. He's a 25, 30, 35 sort of kicker. The only one who could do it, and he did it really well, and we need to get the ball in his hands a lot more, is Riley Hardiman. His long kicks, they're darts, they're lower trajectory, they get there quicker, and they hit someone on the tip.
He had a great inside 50 kick to Nick Larkey.
Yeah.
At the last quarter, I think.
We need to get the ball. I'd rather him be the user than Daniel. And Daniel's got the experience, and he's not bad at the 25. He does one howler a game, but so does most of our team. But I think let's try and get the ball in Hardiman's. I wouldn't even mind. Let's give him the kickouts.
I was about to say that.
He's done a couple of weeks ago, I think.
He should be a permanent kicker out.
Yeah, but I mean, give him the majority of the kickouts
Yeah,
rather than
what I'm saying.
Daniel. Yeah.
Because he's got that penetrating kick as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, they might be looking for him for the next one, so he can get those inside 50s, which half the team can't do properly. And he, like Chief said, he's probably the best at the moment at it.
But he's
at the long ones anyway.
He's blossoming before our
Yep.
eyes, and the next step for him is he's at the 12 to 15 disposal. We get him up around the 20. We get that ball in his hand more often, and his defensive efforts have matched it too, which has been the most pleasing thing for me. We know the offensive weapon he can be, but I think defensively he's been really, really good as well. And he'd be up there in our most improved players this year, Riley Harden.
Oh, yeah, and I'm looking forward to the day we get Goda back. So he hopefully can do the same thing with that penetrating kick and have two of them in the back line.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, one on each flank.
Yeah, at the moment we've only got one, and whether the opposition are awake to it or we're just not using him enough, he's getting a bit of the ball, but we'd like him to get more, free him up as the user.
Right.
He's probably at that stage because he's learning still how to defend properly, like as a back six, not one-on-one necessarily. He can probably do that, because I think, remember in the Hobart game, a couple of times they got caught way too far up the ground, and Daniel and Core was 2-on-4. So that's collectively the defence all fell asleep or something, I don't know. But
It's
it
balancing.
could be a
that,
reason you
isn't it?
don't want him just hunt ball, then the opponent will downhill skills will just be standing in the goal square. So I reckon they'll work on it. What's he played? 8 games or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on Chom, your man, in the
Well,
back
we took a great intercept mark, and then I don't know who it was, but someone gave away a blocking free. That was in about the first 2 minutes.
I can have a guess who it was.
Apples. Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember, so he's going to be a dartboard this pod, isn't he? Apples?
Most of my red writing starts with CORR.
Oh, dear. But that's correct.
Early anyway.
We call it as we see it. I think, going back to the first half, Pink had some horrible moments. I think it might have been your man Apples, kicked it to him, and it got him on the half volley. Then he took a bit of time picking it up. Then he missed a handball to the next bloke in the chain, was free. Then we ended up getting it out of bounds, but he had some horrible moments. He had missed tackles, as a few of them did. But we'll get to the fourth quarter later, where Pink absolutely stood up.
Do you know what he did do that I liked?
Came off his man and
Intercepted well, and
Yes.
he just went. He didn't go back and then kick it long. He found the option, and his ball use by foot for the game was really, really good, I thought.
And while we're on Pink, we might as well finish on him, is he did come off his man, he backed himself in, got the loose ball, and his use was good, and he was playing on Lynch, who's about, let's just call it 8-9 centimetres taller than him, probably 10, 11 kegs heavier. And I thought if he played on him for the whole game, Lynch could kick 6. He kicked 1, I believe.
Kick 2.
2, was it? Yeah,
One was a free against Core.
One was a free. One was a free against him as well, where he had to grab an arm because he was going to probably get out marked. So you probably do that in a one-on-one where you're going to lose it anyway. Make the umpire make a decision, because sometimes they don't pay him. Not often against us they don't pay him. But I thought he did really well, and his last quarter was something. Just a real coming of age quarter for him, I think. And if he can continue on that form, he'll get a new contract.
Yeah, well, I think if we're serious as a football club and where we want to go, you're demanding a certain amount of expectation or tackling wise on your kids, and you're seeing it. Sheasel had 10, Wardlaw had 10, Colby had 10. There's 3 young players giving 10 tackles. Oh, I think we've got to move past Aiden Core now with some of the efforts there. I think this side where we're going to go, it's time to say goodbye to him, unfortunately, and Toby Pink plays in front of him every week for me. And we've sent the stern, hard message to Griffin Logue, and he's still sitting in the twos, and Core didn't really do much to get a recall, and he's back in. But yeah, I thought he was easily in our bottom 2 or 3 yesterday.
Yeah, I agree.
I guess they needed the third tool, didn't they? So until he'll be the third one until someone else stands up and says, whether it's shotgun or
Cow Dawson.
Whitlock next year. Don't know whether Cow's better at running off, but his decision making's a bit 50-50 too. Like I know he only got 2 games, but Cole's probably got enough credits, even though it was shocking yesterday. But 2026, hopefully not. But for next week, I can't see him dropping him to play Collingwood. Like who comes in? Unless you want to shake it up completely and put a smaller player in.
Yeah. It might be Dawson. He's probably the only third tall, is in Cow Dawson.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cal Dawson, I don't rate his one-on-one marking work or body work.
I think he's an upgrade on Core. I don't think he can get much.
I'd call down for those 4 shockers, 4 free kicks. But he also got tunnelled himself and didn't get one, which is sort of in the first quarter. Remember, that was clear tunnel. That's a dangerous act.
That was right in front of us.
Yeah, that was terrible. That one.
I'll tell you what else he got: an absolute bake from Luke McDonald at one point for playing too far off his man.
Yeah.
I thought, hello, we've been saying this for 12 months, Luke.
Back shoulder course, the only time he plays
when he was on Layla, is that how you say it? I think he gave away 3 free kicks and he's smaller than him. And it was just one-on-ones. He could have just punched. He actually did some good punches later in the game. If this is what you meant to do, not grab someone on the shoulder, on the wing, or half-back line. He did a couple of shockers, and those momentum killers from experienced leaders that we drive us nuts.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Like I'm not his number 1 fan, but until someone takes it off him.
It'll be interesting to see come Thursday night. Now, I know this is not a Richmond podcast, but I will just say, for the fans who didn't make it to the game, that Sam Lawler is a serious player. Like watching him live, he's going to be a problem for years to come. And the Richmond fans are on watch as well for having the biggest cry ever when my man Cam put Vlosten into the ground, hitting him in the throat, when Dusty did that every week. And they never called him, did they?
No, your man Cam did it twice and got pinged twice.
Yeah.
He was about the only player on the field for the whole day got pinged for holding the ball.
Oh, yeah, don't
Well, they Foss did as well. I don't think any of their players got pinged for holding the ball. The umpires really let it go. But
Right, so we've covered the back line. Let's go to the forward line now, because we always talk a lot about the mids. You've touched on Darling a lot. Is there anything you wanted to add just on his overall game?
Well, yeah, he was the best game he's played probably in 8 years. I don't know, because I didn't watch that much of him at West Coast. But his fight and hassle for the ball and pressure in the forward line was elite and contested. I don't think he got outmarked maybe once. I don't know. Well, it was probably
someone got in front of him, but that's just a...
Yeah, he was fantastic competing for the ball. Air balls competed hard. Ground balls competed hard. Kicked 2-1. Could have sealed the game with his last shot, I suppose. It was probably a bit early to seal it, but from around 50, just missed. He was fantastic. He was by far, in my opinion, the best forward. And we'll see in the Bassi how well I rated him. He was really, really good. I was so happy for him and how he played. And we were questioning whether he'd be exposed on the bigger MCG. But yeah, he was fantastic. And how about a few follow? A few of those taller forwards. How about we follow?
Speaking of taller forwards, Frog, what were your thoughts on Big Finbar?
Oh, I thought he was okay. Like he certainly competes hard, and it's the same thing. Someone who's going. I'm glad he's getting a run of games. I hope surely they keep him in this week. Like I think he's not in the right position. He's trying to make a contest. Did a couple of good strong tackles. He's not going to get a lot of looks, and I don't reckon his game time's huge. Probably 55%, like something. I think
he's on the bench a lot. He and the shush man.
Yeah,
shush man. Every time I looked up, the shush man was in front of me.
Well,
get on the field, man.
The other 5 are probably playing 80 to 90. The other 5 forwards. So those 2 are, but basically played about the same as Bailey Scott. He played about 50 something, didn't he?
He had more touches.
Did a bit of running, but yeah, it was good that he's doing the follow-up with it and he got rewarded with the goal, so I was happy for him. Yeah.
I think he probably misses.
Obviously, the cult, you hear the big moose cries coming through the TV when he took his last mark. So
Oh, good. I think he probably misses this week because with PC coming back
yeah,
in,
that could be.
I don't think we play the three tools against a quick Collingwood backline as well. But we'll get to that in our preview. I've got some thoughts on Nick Larkey's game. We'll touch on that at the watch list. Let's try and keep this pretty positive. My man Cam, right? He's a big game player. Every time the ball went to him, it looked like he was going to do something. He kicked 4 for the day. I mean, a couple of those fend-offs, you don't see that called. He easily could have kicked 5 or 6. But to play under the duress he did, that's real shin boners. And I know it's your segment, but I think he is the deserved recipient of the true shin boner of the week with his effort to get up and play. And he's just so dangerous. He's that X-Factor player we know and love. And I think he's been pretty consistent so far this year. Lots of 2s and 3s. But good to see him get out and kick 4 and be the difference maker in the end, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, having PC out has forced him to, not forced him, but he's come doing a bit more. And that point, Chief's point about Darling and Malley we're talking about, Cam's more sitting off the contest if he can, not cheating. Just think, they're going to go up. I'll read the play and get it out the back on my own a couple of times. Or last week he flew when he had to. So that's what we like about Cam, when he knows when to stay down or rove or fly for the big hanger. So that's the Cam we love.
I think we're seeing him kick more goals too, because with PC out of the side, I've noticed he's playing a lot deeper as well. We know PC's so good one-on-one that quite often he plays deep and Bull will go up the ground. So he's gotten his opportunities one-on-one. He had a really good opponent in Broad and taught him a lesson yesterday, and really plays with his game. The next one I want to speak about is Constanti. Didn't really. It's hard to tell when you're at the ground, the small forwards, but he kicked a goal. I mean, what were your thoughts on his game? As I said, when I was watching, every time I looked up, he was doing run-throughs in front of me, trying to stay warm.
They kicked that good crumbing goal off the back of the pack.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in the third quarter, the ball didn't go in at 50 for like 15 minutes.
No, it didn't.
It was like 7-1 or the 0-1 stage. But
I had him down as a bad missed tackle out in the wing, probably in front of you. In your members, you probably had the butler in the way. You couldn't probably see properly, and but then he made 3 really good efforts to get the ball back, and I can't remember if he halved the contest, but yeah, really determined to get it back. So he made a mistake, but then he made up for it by going really hard 3 or 4 times in a row, which is fantastic. That's what he's in there for. Is it time to try someone else against Collingwood? He's sort of just hanging in for mine in the team. I didn't get to watch the 2s because they were on at the same time. So I don't know how Geordie Payne went. I think Coop kicked 2 or 3.
Coop kicked 3.
But I don't know if he can bring that pressure that Geordie can. And against Collingwood, which we'll get to in the preview, they've got a lot of. They get all their score off halfback pretty much. So you're going to have someone to chase, tackle, harass.
I don't think he'd go out. Even if he did, he'd go to sub. You'd have to keep him in just for his pressure. I think people forget that's what he's mostly there for, I think.
Yeah, and the fact he kicks a goal is almost a bonus.
He's only playing 50 to 60 game time. That's why we can't see him. He's on the bench.
Yeah.
He's doing run-throughs in front of you.
Basically on the bench for 10 minutes a quarter, isn't he? Playing about 15 or whatever. Yeah.
Well, let's quickly chat about the midfield group as well. I mean, Tristan Sherry, another monster performance. The 9 coaches' votes to take him the outright leader after round 10.
Boy, in a team that's won 2.5 games.
He's been awesome. Get that jacket suited up for him, I reckon. Double XL he'd be. So get that ready for him.
Might have to put them both in this year, but they're first and third.
Yeah, I think
Gorn's third, I think.
I think they probably have to. Like, if they're going to be
Well,
realistic.
if we're going to split it, let's have a look at when they played each other.
Yeah. And he plays him again later this year at the
X
G.
smashed him, so... X was the only 4-quarter midfielder. The others came in and out of the game. I thought, like I said, I thought he was best on at quarter time, but then he went missing in the second, along with a lot of players, because we have about 2 or 3 inside 50s, and it took about halfway through the quarter to get our first, and that was a very shallow one. LDU was awesome when he was on.
I think he was our best mid on the
Georgie, I mean, just did Georgie things. How fantastic. Can we talk about the bump? Tell you what, how many goals did we kick? I don't know.
12.
12. Well, my biggest come on was when Georgie Vlauston, triple premiership player, played 200 odd games, older, wiser, bloody stronger. Nah, Georgie, just out of my way. I'll clear the path. We'll get body first. We'll get your body over the boundary line, then we'll pick the ball up and handball it off, result in a Larky goal. Fantastic, right when we need it.
And guess what? Larky was in front,
Yeah, I know.
running at the ball, and a clutch goal. Like he's marking other parts have been off, but yesterday, 2 straight.
In the warm-up, very shaky as well, I will say.
Didn't the wind carried the ball a bit? Not excusing people's goal kicking, but just it seemed to go over the packs a lot for both teams, I thought.
Yeah, it wasn't a
Like
high
Hardiman
wind. It
had
was
that,
a bit...
they passed it to the square and it nearly went through for goal.
Yeah.
It looked like he was doing just a long kick. It's like both ways a bit.
Yeah, and it was like that on the Saturday as well.
Yeah.
Was it? Even in the members, they don't have wind blockers there.
yeah.
I'm level 1, man. I'm not on the balcony.
I think glassed in, open the window.
Yeah. You dirty bludger. Just a stat here from the Footy Furnace last night. So the total stoppages in yesterday's game was 139. The AFL average is 97. And the total tackles 184, with the average being 117. So that just demonstrates how contested and congested and high stoppage the game was.
It
yesterday.
was, and you wouldn't have seen because you were at the game, but the pressure rating from Richmond in the second quarter was 273.
My days.
And
We were about 240, weren't we?
It will 245, so we're roughly 30 below, and 245's elite, but Dermot in the call said he'd never seen it that high for Richmond, and obviously they dominated the second quarter. So they obviously got a rocket, and we went with them as best we could, but it just shows. 245, you win most games, you win most quarters, but if you're 10, 15, 20% off, you just get exposed.
And we're very fumbly in that second quarter. Like,
Well, that pressure rating, anyone's going to be fumbly.
It was
Parker
very
and Co.
congested and there's no space, so both teams' disposal efficiency went to the shit because
I thought-
there was no space to get clean possessions out.
Yeah, I thought...
But we stood up to it well. I thought they kicked a few goals, but we matched them with our tackling, I think.
Before we get to the Basti, thoughts on Harry's game?
I thought it was good. I thought it was underrated. It's a typical 2025 Harry's game. Not quite in the top, but thereabouts.
Yeah, I agree. If someone that's lower, like Zane Dersman is met, they'd be signing him up for a 7-year contract or something, like a 20 and... Well,
Only if he was about 30,
Yeah.
then they'd sign him for 7 years.
I think there's a lot of Harry tax going on from the support.
There is a lot of
he's
Harry
not as
tax.
good as he was, elite as he was last year. He's still a very, very good player, I think.
He is.
Yeah, no, I thought he was good.
And he's getting sat on more. He's not getting it free as much. Yeah, I mean, if you're obviously the opposition, let's not let Harry get loose. And probably got loose a bit even in the forward line last year a bit.
And just to tie a bow on it, plus 21 clearance. Before we move on to the Basti, let's talk about the end of the game because we held on and we seem to have a lot of situational awareness. Must have been trained in the last couple of weeks from Clarko after getting the criticism that was unfairly on him when they played a clip from about 12 months ago when we were zipping 10 and weren't getting within 10 goals of teams. But
I think the criticism, matched him. Like, yeah, it's good you can do it. You can't. Like, if we put our 40 players together, it's not even realistic because you got, lower listed players trying to pretend they're Richmond or whoever players, and we don't know what sort of press they're going to do. You can't train for 17 different variations in one training session of playing. You know what I mean? Like, and you can train it all you like, but when you get, it's like when we play inter clubs. Oh, we look really good, LDU or whatever, getting 40 possessions and Blargy kick 6 goals, and we play a real team and it doesn't happen. Like,
yeah.
Right, I'll just take the pod down a little bit because I've got a negative for the way we played the last quarter or the second half of the last quarter when we got the advantage. I thought we were too slow. We weren't aggressive enough. We weren't looking to kick the next goal. And it was a classic example of the captain, Jai, who got the ball about half-back flank outside the defensive 50, had 2 options inboard. And to be fair, with his kicking skills, I was glad he didn't take them, but it was so slow, and then he just kicked it long down the line and straight to Camden, who was on his own, and marked it, and then bang, they're straight back. They switched, they got into the corridor.
But if he takes the kick and misses it, you're also
That's what I
going to
said.
lament him.
But
that
we were
way.
too slow. If you're going to go quick. He had a look inside, didn't like either option. An A-grade AFL player is hitting those options, right? So
Well, he's not an A grader. As simple as that.
Yeah, but then he's kicked long straight to them. The bloke didn't even have to move. Well, it was an uncontested mark. If you're going to kick 50 metres, at least get a contest. So I thought that was poor. I thought that our whole ball movement just dried up. Clarko and his presser, when he was asked about whether they trained for it, said, yeah, but we didn't do it right, basically, but we got lucky. And who had the last two set shots to the game from around 40 metres?
Kane's been.
Or Taranto and the young
Kane's been.
fella I can't think of.
Call.
Taranto should have kicked his for a senior player. And if he kicks that, it's a totally different tone of this pod.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm just saying, I think we play that way against Richmond, we win. We play that way against Wet Toast, we probably win. Pretty much any other team, I think it's probably a nil. But that's a negative. It's something we can work on. I think we got lucky in the end because we lost our dare, we lost our ball movement. We didn't try and kick the goal to seal the game. We tried to hang on, and luckily we did because they missed 2 set shots.
Yeah, and
from inside 50.
Yeah,
good for my health because the heart was pounding.
Yeah, well, on the negative in that last goal, I've got 14 minutes left. We're up by 11, and our inside 50s just lacked composure from then on. They just almost too excited or too panicky or too slow. They didn't have the system. They just forgot it all.
Well, we kicked it to Nank about 3 times, and he took uncontested marks. And I mean, poor old Zane, big game Zane, wasn't a big game. He's only a young player, so I'm not going to hang him out to dry. But he probably would have been better off kicking a long point. Yeah. When we could have set up. He tried to chip it to the top of the square, and Nank took uncontested. So we weren't on the forwards weren't on the same page as he was on. He'd be better off just kicking a long point, hopefully goal, but at worst a long point, and we've got time to set up.
Even George, he had that massive moment you mentioned before, but he had a couple of shockers in that. He had that Shanks the kick at goal, went out in the full, I think. And you got to be better. And you also, a bit later, you're running away from the goal outside 5th handball over the top of Stevens' head. So, if that's a defender, we're crucifying him because they probably get a goal. But lucky we think we got out of that. You had 6 possessions in the last at 33%. But, I mean, his 2 possessions had a elite. He's just got to tidy up the other half of his game. But no, I love the dude, but like he said, that's going to cost us games. But they're all part of it, but that was really bad, I thought.
Another thing, Parker kicked sideways to Stevens. It either didn't hit him or it was a one-on-one. Well, that was poor from Parker.
That was like a 20-metre pass. Yeah. That's what he's in the team for, to hit that target like Dale Santo or whatever he used to. And he thought, what happened to him? He had a shocker, Parker. Really, for him.
It was his
but
worst
there's always
game.
the worst one for us.
And another bad option. A couple of times we kicked to Stevens one-on-one.
Yeah.
We did the big switch, got him one-on-one, kicked it 55 metre kick to him one-on-one. Marking is not his strength. Body work is not his strength. If you're going to kick it to him one-on-one, make him lead, get him out in front, but then we haven't got the kicks, unless it's Hardiman coming out the back line, to actually hit that kick. So that were a couple of poor moments, I thought. But anyway, it's a positive pod because we won.
Oh, well, I think there was another one. I think it's probably unlucky, but Darling got out-rucked by Lynch. Remember, that just happens. But was that their last goal?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
But it was good body work. It happens, but he was shat.
That's too much to him,
yeah.
Darling. If you look at, it's nearly once a game.
I've got something to say on that. If Darling is in the ruck and they're forward 50, we've normally got a spare back there. Let's get near their ruckman, if it's a reasonably experienced ruckman, because they do it too often.
You have to be ready to come in and jump on the ball.
Or just get rid of tackling. As soon as it just has the spare standing right next to the ruckman. And because that goal resulted from they had a good flowing play and they missed the kick and it went out of bounds. They should have actually been having a set shot from a mark, but they fluffed the kick. Yeah. Like against better teams, they're not even going to fluff the kick, so I won't even get to that. They'll hit someone on the chest, but because we're playing Richmond, they fluffed it, but they still end up with a goal.
They fluffed a lot all game when they were open, coming to the 50 and kicked it out of bounds, didn't they? Like it was good for us. But.
Yeah, but we won't get away with that against better teams.
But we won.
I know we won. We're up. That's our little negative, Nancy.
We are not we don't have a luxury of celebrating too many winning pods. So let's get into.
I've got a bit. This is positive because we said you've been through the Toby Pink elite for the last few minutes. Also, with 25 seconds left on the clock, Parker and Jai stayed in the moment really well and got the ball out of bounds. Yes. They still had a chance. But I think Parker was under him, so he couldn't sit on it. Just gave it a little tap, didn't build it, and then Jai managed to. I think a Richmond player picked it up, and Jai took him over the line. That probably
That saved the
That
game.
would have saved the game, because they were probably one clearance away. Not that Sherry would let them do it, but you never know which way the ball up's going to
just
go.
got dropped short or
Nank,
something.
Nank had a good game too.
Yes, we'll get to that in the most prestigious award in all of the AFL, the Bassie.
Well, I was there, so I'm taking the new rock.
Okay, let's see how you do with it. Don't waste it.
I will
Don't be a
definitely
Steve
won't.
Harmison, bowl a second sleep.
I definitely won't. So, the 5 votes I gave to the man who I thought was the most influential on the result, Cameron Zurhaar, the Zoo, the Bull. I love the man. He kicked 4 goals. He had a direct goal assist, 6 score involvements, played on one leg basically. He was huge and arrived when we most needed him. So I gave him the 5 votes. The 4 votes I gave to Colby McKercher. Easily his best game of the year. 22 disposals, 10 tackles, the big one for mine. He kicked a goal and had 7 score involvements. Really great game from him. 3 votes I gave to Jack Darling. 2 goals, 17 disposals. You mentioned his forward pressure being the biggest liking of mine for his game and got rewarded on the scoreboard, which is great. 2 votes can consider himself very unlucky is Tristan Sherry. Had another monster game, but the only little asterisk is, and in terms of the votes, is that it was a really close matchup with he and Nank, where I think the other 3 I mentioned before won that matchup easily. So great game, X, but had a good head-to-head battle, and he had 11 clearances, 12 tackles, 19 disposals. 51 hit-outs, sorry. A monster game from him. And the 1 vote could have gone to a lot of people. I had LDU penciled in for a while. I thought Chom was pretty solid, but I gave it to someone who definitely outperformed their expectation, and that was Toby Pink. I liked his run and carry that he provided, something not expecting, and then obviously the match-saving mark adds a little bit of extra mayo into his performance, but I thought pretty solid to keep Tom Lynch, who is still a really good player even at his age, just to the 2 goals. So, yeah, they're my votes. Chief, you're up.
Okay, well, I've given 5 to Jack Darling. I was so impressed with his game. Certainly on TV, it stood up all the hard work he was doing, all the fighting for the ball, ground balls, air balls, getting his hand in, setting up goals. I couldn't believe how good he was. I don't know if that showed up well as much live at the ground, but it certainly showed up watching on the television.
Well, you got the 3, so you obviously did something right.
Okay, these are my votes. Forward to Colby, you covered him. Fantastic. He made 1 error, which you'll regret because it'll probably be goal of the year and it'll show up on all the highlights. But he was very good in his tackling. There was another one where we've been critical where he won't take the tackle. He got the ball, he got crunch and he just held it in, ball up. He'd spilt that in previous games. So I think he's learning. You've got to remember he's a ball winner. And he's adding that layer of tackling to his game. He was really good, getting up around the congestion more too. So winning his own ball. X, I gave 3, and I mean I feel a bit bad looking at the coaches' votes now because they gave him 9. But you got to there's a Harry tax, and I think there's an X tax.
Oh, there's someone else tax. Where is he? Keep going.
Well. This is not on video, so no point giving me quizzical looks playing for the camera.
Well, you're talking about coaches' votes?
You're not Brad Pitt.
Who got 8? Who got 8 coaches' votes?
But anyway, X got 9, and he got 3 from me. And I think that, as you said, as we discussed off air, that Nank played quite well as well. I think X beat him. He was more effective. But Nank had quite good stats as well. 2 I gave to Zurhaar. He kicked 4, yes. But a lot of them were from elite kicks where he finished the work, and someone has to finish. I understand that, but he got 2 votes, 4 goals, 2 votes, and 1 to LDU. I think it was enormous in patches throughout the game, but particularly the last quarter where the game was on the line. His clearance work was really good. There's a few unluckies. I won't go through them all, but I thought Harry could have easily been in there playing more half forward than usual. And yeah, Toby Pink. For his last quarter, he would have been very high in the my votes, but he made some errors early in the game, fairly basic and costly errors. He wasn't Robinson Crusoe, but we'll move on when we talk about the True Shinboner Award, which you've sort
I've
of...
already awarded it. Don't worry.
Well, okay, but this I think it was actually my segment.
No, I'll
So
take
we'll
it.
go into that now, will we?
Yep.
Okay. Well, you've nominated the Bull for, and I agree with those reasons. I didn't know that he had a bad foot pre-game, and then he came off, I think, the second quarter limping. I thought, gee, I hope he gets back on because he's having a pretty good game and he's been influential. During the game or after the game, they spoke about it, so that is absolutely true Shinboner worthy to play with a busted foot and really apply it yourself, get through the mental toughness, get through the physical toughness of it all and have a real impact on the game. But I'm going to nominate Toby Pink for having a pretty horrendous game to start with and in the Aiden Core category early, but then having the bravery to continue to back yourself in as a young player, trying to find his feet, trying to fight for a contract for next year and come off your player, win the loose ball and that last mark and then the composure. He looked inboard and I almost had a heart attack when his eye started inboard. I said, unless someone's 30 metres clear, you go long down the line, 50 metres as far as you can, which he did, got a stoppage. Parker and Jai created another stoppage. The time ran out, we won the game. So I've got no problem with having joint nominations for this round.
Yeah, well, now you've explained it, fair play to you.
All right, good.
Fair play. And just on Cam, he wore the 15s on both feet.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah.
Surely if you've got a 1 foot swollen, the other one's the same size.
But he kicked a goal on his left foot. He had to hit his toe. Would have been halfway into the shoe.
Yeah.
Weird. That's sort of...
You might don't know if you mentioned Pink started that good run with that chase down on the far wing.
Yeah,
that
we've
was
mentioned
inspirational.
Big tackle. Yeah,
for
That's
the-
why.
the
That's
guy
why he's
was
in my
ru-
votes.
The guy was running at him. Then he actually chased him. It was only Sims, but that you thought, he's not going to catch him. I know someone else that plays defence would have just probably jogged on. Yeah, I was thinking the other one, Core.
Yeah. Oh god.
Could this be the making of Toby?
Well, I think
Let's
that
hope
would
so.
have. Yeah, the boys would have got around him and that would have got a big mention after the game. As obviously as well at the end to take the chance, like you said, to bump him in Lynch in the side. Well, Lynch would have kicked the goal. That's the game. So he's basically saved the game by having the guts to try and. Because it's easy to get the little. Oh, you touched his elbow.
And didn't Lynch try and fly forward for it too? And just on Toby, you watch him give Membry a bath this week.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Anyway,
It's one win.
that's-
One win at a time.
That's the positive. Let's get to the negative. The next segment is the watch list.
Alrighty. Okay, so who's on the watch list? Excuse the flapping
So
papers.
we've got a nomination this week. Which
Hang on, we've got to go through and then we'll accept nominations at the end. Bailey Scott,
Well, he gets a humongous X.
humongous X, and
How is he? If he's in the team next week, I will
spew,
straight up spew.
right, Clarko's got himself off. Logue played VFL, so didn't have a chance. Didn't watch the VFL, can't comment. Daniel, I'm going to give him a tick. He had a howler, but he, other than that, he was serviceable. Or probably a little bit better than serviceable.
He had 25 at 76%, 400 metres.
Yeah. So that's
That's
good.
someone
That's-
else we're saying, wow.
Yeah.
I think the howlers hurt.
Yeah,
You
'cause
remember
we-
them. You got to does do some good kicks as well.
Exactly. But the howlers are unforced. That's why you remember them. I mean, we all accept it under pressure, but
And
I mean, it's not
obviously-
just him we call out.
No.
We call out Jai, we call out LDU, we call out anyone who does it.
Obviously,
So,
he gets exposed defensively, just like Fisher and Colby when they were down there.
yeah.
But they're just not defenders.
He did a really good smother, and that's something I didn't mention. Our smothers were really good this game. So obviously it was a tight, congested, but the backline did quite a few good smothers, which saved potentially goals or shots on goal. There was he, and there was Elmac did one that I can remember. So well done, because that's only an effort thing to smother. You don't need talent to put your arms and head over the ball. You just need a bit of ticker. Colby McKercher. Is he on the watch list? My God, big tick. He needs one more to get off. One more good game. Darcy Tucker played VFL.
No, he didn't. He's got a back issue.
Oh, did he?
And they
Okay.
don't know how long. So there's another potential. It's being floated on the rumour mill that there might be another mid-season draft spot opening.
Oh.
They don't know what's happening with his back.
Oh, what's that? Oh, okay. Well, I was going to ask what happened, but they don't know what
They don't
happened.
know.
Okay.
I have to wait till Kevin
I
tells
reckon
me.
there's too many knives in it.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
From the supporters.
Yeah, well, that's
They've taken them out
potential.
and stuck them
The
in.
old voodoo doll was
Daniel-
kicked in. Okay, Jai Simpkin. Yeah, he gets a tick from mine. I don't know about you guys. He went a
I
bit
think
quiet in
he's
the
a
second.
dash.
You think he's a dash?
It didn't really impact the game.
He's
after
best on at
time.
quarter time, in my humble opinion.
Footy's a 4-quarter game,
I
Chief.
know, I understand that. Not many teams play or 4 quarters of great football. No, well, I'm in charge of this. He gets a tick. Fredo, do you want to vote?
I'd give him a tick.
Thank you.
Just. I don't think you don't have to be
You
dominate, but
No.
he didn't do too many howlers. He did the bad thing right at the start of the game. We gave Frit holding Taranto's arm for about 5 minutes and first play.
Yeah.
Free kick. And so they really want the other team to get the
Oh,
first goal,
yeah.
don't
Do
they?
you have to hold his... I mean,
Then
he butchers it
guess
anyway.
what happened then? Taranto kicked it to near core.
Yeah.
We marked it. No, Core's wrestling someone to the ground. Oh, later, I'll put you in the ground. Oh, here comes the ball.
Oh,
Is that
dear.
Muppet?
All right, Fredo. Sorry. Fredo, he's gone hard. Nick Larkey.
Well, he's got to be a dash or a cross.
Look,
He cannot be a tick.
no, he's not a tick. No way.
I'll
but
give him a dash for that's not mine, but he kicked 2 goals.
that's exactly
when
right.
when he needed to
had
kick
to,
it,
he kicked the goals.
Again, he took a couple of good marks outside 50 again on the wing.
I watched him live.
I know he did a few. I'm
He
running off the side when
needs
he
to
got
be.
bumped.
He needs to look himself in the mirror. And Chief, and Frog would know as well. I'm one of his biggest fans, but he is not strong enough under the foot. He had Ben Miller. It's not like he's got Harris Andrews or someone like a great intercept marker. He gets outmarked too often.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not expecting him to take huge clunks, but bring the ball to ground. We've got such a dangerous forward line. PC back next week. We can't be letting them have intercept marks. If he has Jeremy Howe or whoever on him next week, and he's just going to let him intercept, we're cooked. I'm not saying he's going to kick 6 a game, but he's getting outmarked way too often and too much looking at the umpires.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been saying that a lot, but I just thought probably
No.
not a cross though, a dash. Just
No, not a
goals,
cross.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
The
I
big
think-
tick for him, though, was the 2 moments to kick the
Yeah,
goals.
that's why he
And
gets
the
a dash.
snap round the corner, he didn't rush it like against, who was that, Carlton? I think, it was
Yeah,
Carlton.
Carlton, when we should have gone, that would have been the go-ahead.
He took
Kick.
his 30 seconds and executed. So big tick for him for kicking the clutch goals as well.
He is a bit like, not exactly the same, but like Brown. He was easier to push off the ball, but Brown led forward a lot harder. A lot harder. That was his
Well,
one
just
word.
led
Like just
forward
ran
at
up
all.
and put the jukes up, didn't he?
All right, so I think you've got a new nominee for the watch list.
Well, I think I
where
said this.
the list you don't want to be on.
15 times. I reckon I've sent this, but Aiden Core is going on. Any arguments there?
No.
Can't disagree. So he's on.
Right. Next segment, our Gernzie numbers. So episode 114. So our favourite number 14. But before we get there, last pod.
Last pod, you it was number 13, and you had Patchy Adams, and we both talked about him for a while. Then you moved on.
Well, I
You didn't
thought-
even ask me my opinion.
Well, I thought you'd had Patch because you just talked
I
about him
like
for 10
Patch.
minutes. And I thought, oh, he's picked Patch as well. We'll move on.
I'd go back to the 80s, and Fredo will remember him. Johnny Law, captain for 2 years, played 219 games, played between 1978 and 89, was captain for 88 and 89. Tough halfback flanker. And he'd probably be CCC
Yeah.
worthy back then.
Captain in a couple of tough years.
Yeah.
A bit like Zeeble and Joe and Elmack, like a lot of kids in the teams in 88 and 89
Yep.
who ended up being very good players.
Yep. And the VFL Reserves Best and Fairest is the Johnny Law Award.
There you go. Trip
So
down
he's
history
like the
lane.
Sid. Well, not all the viewers are, Gen X or whatever you are.
Oh, I wouldn't know. Don't care. Frog, favourite number 14.
14. Am I going, am I? First?
Yeah. You have the new rock.
We'll go Matthew Armstrong. You probably don't know who he is. Only played 43 games, but I just like watching him play. Beautiful raking left foot. We got him from Fitzroy in the trade, but he only played a couple of years for us. But unlucky to miss out on the 96 grand final. He got dropped. I don't know whether we would have talked to Dennis since then. I reckon he had a couple of bad finals, but Dennis didn't stick with him, so it doesn't always stick with his favourites.
No.
So. But that was the closest. There's a couple others I could have picked, but I just thought him just because it's one you like to watch play. So.
Yeah.
Didn't see enough of some earlier players, like Phil Kelly didn't see enough. Obviously, he could play.
Well, he could have played 100 and we could have got
he's
Josh, thanks.
39 short, wasn't he?
My favourite number 14, there's really only 2 options. Or you could go Gavin Urquhart, go a bit rogue.
Super
but
Gav.
It was either Froggy Jamon or this man, but he was only with us for a short time. But I love the way Liam Shields went about it, particularly moments where he'd fly back to create a contest and just prioritise the club before himself, and for helping steady through a really rocky time at the club. Loved his approach, loved listening to him speak, and just thought, if you recall back to his first game at North, about 5 minutes in, he absolutely got clobbered, put his body on the line, and yeah, that was enough for me to say, yeah, this man's the right man for the job, and he was just the placeholder till we got Parker in that role. So, really big fan of Pup Shields, and hopefully he can get cooking now in the list management space with Brady.
Yep. Well, I've gone the other one you mentioned, Froggy Dumont. Now, number 14, there's pretty slim pickings, to be fair, but these are our favourite and I think he was just a hard worker, wasn't he, up and down the wing. I think he had a few tagging roles sometimes, but he's just a hard worker. For those who are too young to know what he was like, I'd compare him to Bailey Scott at his best. Just hard work, not too flashy, not too often in the best.
I think his skills were
top
better
five.
than Scott. I think you're underselling him a bit.
Yeah, no, this is something that came to mind. I mean, we'd like Scott to get back to his best, wouldn't we? But that's probably another conversation.
Well, Jamont was more inside player, but he actually worked on his fitness to be more of a winger, didn't he? And he was one of the defensive mids with Gibson that would run back when the other ones were down. He was
that's what I mean.
on the way to the goal.
Yeah.
How many games did he play?
He played 113 games between 2014 and 2021, and then he got traded to Port where he played another handful. And probably ironically enough, Bailey Scott was the one who probably pushed him out because his first game, which was spoken about, we thought, well, we've got a superstar here, Bailey Scott. He had 30 and 3 against Freo. But,
and we lost by 90 points.
Yes, but yeah, no, he was a good serviceable player.
Yeah, very good.
Also, Daniel Harris played in that early on.
Did he?
Yeah, he was 14 before he got promoted to 4. But I wasn't going to pick him again.
Yeah, well, you can. You mate.
As long as we
I know how much you love him.
Darren Crocker played 14 as well, and he went to 27.
You don't usually see players going up.
No, I
Number
think
two.
the famous 27.
Keith Gregg, wait till we get to that. I'll probably let it slip.
And then Ben Buckley as well. Another Tassie boy with 14.
Yeah, I was thinking about Ben, and of course Matty Armstrong you did mention, he's a Tassie boy.
And Brady Anderson, I can barely remember. There's another one.
No, he was
88 to 2000, 27 games. Brady Anderson, like an on-baller type of thing.
Yeah, I remember Brady. He was...
I just don't remember him playing like he would have been on part of Dennis's. You're not coming off the bench.
Yeah,
person.
I think he said 88, 98.
Sorry, 90.
He was part of our
95.
superstar team, so he was well down the pecking order.
98 to 2000. Sorry.
Right, let's get into the listener questions. Thanks again, everyone who have sent them in. We'll start on Instagram with Rory RJ67, who says, absolutely stoked. In light of that game, what's a pass mark against the Pies next week?
Well, I think that, as I said during the pod, I think the Pies will finish us off, whereas Richmond couldn't. So, Pies are flying. I haven't watched a lot of them because I've obviously been away on holiday, but I think under 30 points.
I think, I can't believe I'm saying this because I've given it to him about saying it in his presses, but I think we've got to be in the game at 3/4 time. I think this is the big test. I mean, you don't want to. We've had a solid block of a month of good footy. We can't go out and get belted by 10 goals. No. So I think you're right. I think probably the 30-point margin. Frog?
Make him earn it. Get the old school, bring all this tackling and harassing back, make him sore and bruised up the next day.
We saw how it went last year, didn't we? And let's actually finich the game off.
Well, the other thing with the Pies, we've got the bye the week after, so there's no reason not that you ever should leave anything out there, but you're going to be well rested after.
Get Darling and Parker will get their week off then, and then go and have a holiday in WA for a few days and smash those two teams, hopefully.
Adam Somu says, what do we do about Big X when he has a rest? Darling's valuable up forward, but he's costing us in the ruck.
Well, I don't think he cost us in the ruck. The goal down the end, but that's happened to Sherry before. It's happened to all ruckmen. And he actually had a lot of good Sherry-type clearances where he just grabbed it and pushed the other guy out of the way, who are you, and then just kicked it forward. There's at least a couple of those he did. I thought he got some good metres gains out of his his tap work's not that. It doesn't have to be though if you're the second ruck.
No, they set up differently when he's in there, so they know
that new rule. He can just stand there at the middle anyway, like Sherry does.
Block him out with his big shoulders.
I think he's just got to be player focused when we're in defensive 50. Not give away a free, obviously, but be very hyper vigilant around being pushed off the ball and not go
I
ball
agree.
watching.
I agree with that. And you know my thoughts. Get someone into the ruck contest.
We'll get the monkey off the buffet and down there to tell him that.
Yeah, no, it's the other. It's a spare. The spare's got to be. No, they're probably going to bump him the other way and have a quick snap. So get there to tackle him.
It's just unlucky. You've got to be pushed as you lift your leg up to get. You can't just stand there because they're both running in, aren't they? So it's just the good forwards that are good ruckman like Tommy was. You just push them as they jump and you can get away with it because he's Geelong.
Next question here is from Tory Boy, who I think might be your burner account, Chief, because he's put here, George only had 14 touches today, but looks like he had 25. The kid is going to be a star.
Because he impacts. That's why. That's why. He's a star.
Short and sharp. Here we go. This is a bit... little Jimmy probably turned this one down for a little bit, but Jesse Allen, who do we love more, Two in the Pink or Moose Zingerbox Maley? There's some rogue nicknames there. Have you seen the Zingerbox thing?
No.
So there was a 200 plus, the podcast with Chom.
Yep.
He had Finbar on and he said, what's it like running out on the bright lights? Because we obviously debuted on Thursday night against Essendon, nearly full house. What was it like? And Finbar, who's obviously a rogue operator, sat there and licked his fingers and said, it's like your first Singer box. That was what he compared his debut to. So,
oh, dear.
So that's where he's got the Zinger box nickname from, the Big Moose. So
okay, yeah.
he can tell a story. He's a very funny man.
Credit to Dermy because he's a bit of a muppet, but he gave the best call for George. He said his worst effort is 100%.
Yeah.
But like in other words, there's no bad effort. Yeah.
Good on, Dermy. There's a gazillion questions about dropping Bailey Scott, so I'll pick this one because it's probably the best one. Who replaces Scott on the wing? Well, I think, and as Dave said here, he's put 3 options, but I think Foss goes to the wing, and my man Elvis comes in to play off half back. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'd like to hear his other 2 options, but while we're talking about Foss, we glazed over him. He had some really good moments, and he's another one who actually can kick and pick the right option coming off half back.
He had Dersma as well.
Yeah, I don't mind either of those. I don't
know whether Dersma's got the tank to play 4
Well, I think he has played. He's played a bit of wing, so I think just.
But for the listeners who didn't see, in the last
you can always sub him off.
Yeah, in the last quarter, they rotated between Jai and Powell on the wing in front of me because Disco had the other one, but the members' side wing had Jai and Tommy Powell.
Yeah, well, I don't mind Jai. I've been saying ever since we started this pod, why not put Jai? He wins all the. It's not a fitness thing. He wins all the time trials ever since he's been there. He's got the tank.
I like it.
I think Dersma hasn't got the application to play a wing yet.
He's
still not fit enough, and he's not impacting. It's like, well, he replaced Scott and was basically the same. He's younger, so he's not going to bag him out as much. But I mean, he might even get pushed out this week, depending on who can come back in.
Well,
and Eddie played like a good game apparently in the VFL on defence, but that was his first one. And he has not been even an emergency this year, so I think he's a bit down the pecking order. But I wouldn't mind trialling him
on a wing,
or halfback, or because that's why they're obviously trialling there to get him in the halfback line, maybe to push Foss up eventually.
Adam Somu asked another one here. Any superstitions during a game, lucky jumper, etc.? Well, I do. If I see a win, I'll generally roll in that one the next week. Aside from that, not really. I like to get to the game early and immerse myself in the atmosphere, like especially at the Coliseum, the MCG. Both days got there as gates opened.
Oh, really?
And just sort of went and had a look in the museum as well. Just a little look around there. Look, plenty of AFLW stuff with Melbourne. Where's the North stuff there?
Well, it's Melbourne home ground.
Wow, it is. Jolly good chap. Good question, that one. Snake Coma here says, credit to Caleb Daniel, had a solid block of form, doing the simple things well. Well, you were a big fan of his game, Chief.
Oh, yeah, I was. So, yeah, I agree. He still hasn't got a vote in the Basti. So, he's probably as close as he's been for mine, but there were still a couple ahead of him who didn't get a vote. So, But he's working in the right direction. We've invested a lot in him. So I think Clarko is definitely going to persist with him for a while in that role.
I want to get your
Well,
thoughts.
the good thing with the last few weeks, we've had probably 10 players to pick from.
Yeah.
Even in those close losses, if you're losing by 70, you're struggling to go past about 2.
Yeah, well, we had that problem a lot last year, didn't we?
It's terrible. You don't even want to give them. So it's good to have a few that, like LDU was probably unlucky, but you got to push someone out, which is a good problem to have.
Yeah, well, with our
I
award...
don't even know who had it. Do you have him in, did you? Yeah,
No. With our award, you've just got to give them. If you're going to do it each week, you've got to give votes out.
Yeah,
So.
it's 5-1. So every week, win, lose or draw.
Oh, that's fine.
It's 5-1.
I wasn't having a go. Yeah.
No, it's a good problem to have, though. You can't squeeze them in.
Moving on to X, I want to get your thoughts on this. Friend of the pod, Corey Viney, who I'll give a shout out. He does a tremendous football podcast called The Sharon Shenanigans. They cover all footy, not just North as well as fantasy. They have 2 pods a week. Good Tassie pod, so shout out to them. He's done a player comparison I want to get your thoughts on about Riley Hardiman. I think he is the perfect example of Clarko's vision for the players he's brought in. Look at this kid, then go back and look at a young Grant Birchall. Moves the same, kicks the same, leg speed and distribution off half-back whilst being quality defensively. What are your thoughts on that?
Agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, his kicking is almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
He seems to get an extra 10 metres without kicking it too high. It's like
Yeah.
it's not overly... Like, it's not always a bullet, but he just drops it in that little spot, and that's really hard to do.
You watch him compared to Elmac. Elmac kicks it as far as he can. It's got more height, and it's not as accurate. And it seems that because he's a left footer, for golfing terms, he draws it.
Yeah,
and
I was about to say that.
It drops away from our player, because our player is probably leading to the space of his left, and it actually draws the other way, draws in.
Yeah, if he tries to kick him flatter, it does. It's like
So
like
you
a
compare him to
wasn't
Elmac,
anything
and
else,
he's just a lot better. And that's a good comparison. Birchall was a bit taller, so he could take a taller opponent, but that's pretty good.
Oh, I thought
Pretty good.
I thought it was good too.
Pretty good, Rich.
That's just a preview of what you can get on the Sharon Shenanigans podcast. But enough pumping up my mate. Time to move on. Sean Alderson here put a comment. Give Bull some love. He obviously hasn't heard me talk about him a lot because that's all odds. As soon as I actually sent a message into the group when I got there, and I said, "Feel a win in the air, and Zerha will kick 4." Well,
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I saw that when
thank
we were
you.
watching at home. I said to Zach, Bailey's got it right. He's got the 4 goals, and now let's just get the win.
yeah, well,
Yeah,
that
when-
took a bit
Good
longer.
on him.
When he kicked the first goal, I thought of you, and when he kicked his second, I thought, Bailey will be up and about there in the members. He'll probably be
Head
turfed
wobbles.
out pretty soon, but no, it was the peak cap guy in front of you.
Yeah, Peaky Blinders. Like not
was
really
Peaky
though, was it? It's
Blinders.
more like your retirement home.
Yeah,
Cap.
it's like
North Merchant here asked a question. I've touched on it a bit, but I'll give the answer here. PC back next week. Are we too top heavy with Larky, Darling, Maley, Zerha, and PC? Yeah, I think unfortunately Finbar, he got a 3 game block. Sorry, I think he'll probably miss, especially with the Collingwood defence, as we mentioned. Your Dacosses and your Quaynors that like to run and off half back. I think we need to bring the forward pressure. So I think Finbar probably sits this one out.
I think, well, we've got to look at Howe. He had a really good game. He's an interceptor, third up, so maybe there's a sneaky spot for calling Elvis to go and play the defensive forward role on him. Either that, I don't think Bull can do that because he's too much of a ball hunter. But yeah, I think we can rest one of them, or rest, drop, replace with PC, and also the back line we probably can maybe get away with only 2 talls. Because they haven't got a tall forward line.
It'll be
There's no giants. You got your memory type. Like Elmac could probably take
big
one.
Cox.
Is he back? He's back.
He
in
played.
there, too.
Oh well, I watched him run round on Saturday. I did not impact at all.
did he play as a forward? Did he?
Yeah.
It's a good- yeah.
Moving on to Facebook, Matthew Reeves. With the job Will did on Dacos last year, till he went off at 3/4 time, and then Dacos went mad, is he an automatic in? He was best on in the 2s today. Oh, good. Someone has watched the 2s. There we go. Will impressed. Well, I saw this in another question, so I apologise to whoever it was, but they mentioned that Dacos has been really, really struggling with the tag. We saw former Shimboner, Corey Wagner, tag him out of the game, and then Ocean Mullen from Geelong as well gave him a bath. So, question without notice, man, would we consider bringing Will in to do the tagging role that we saw him be able to do for 3 quarters last year?
Oh, everything's open. You consider it. I worry about Will going with Dacos on the spread because Dacos will run from contest to contest and get there before Will. Will could match him for strength with beat him for strength with the 26-inch pythons around the stockings.
Well, Dacos, he'd be lucky to have 6-inch pythons. he's got him.
Dacos is still getting a fair bit of the ball, but not as effective on the outside. I think I heard Kingy say that.
Yeah,
because he's playing more more inside, where they're saying not different team, but the Bont's gone more outside and he's destroying everybody. But then, who out of LDU, Simpkin, Power, Parker, Wardlaw, and Cheezel would you take the minutes off?
Yeah, exactly.
They're our top 6 CBAs from the weekend, centre bounce attendances.
You'd have
She's only at 8.
It's only if someone needs a rest, like maybe a Parker, but I think they'll get him through the bye. So I think no for Will, unfortunately. They'll maybe Parker just runs with him in a defensive role. He's got the smarts. He's got a better tank than your man Pup Shields had last year.
Parker could and Power could at times as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you want to expose him the other way, just put Georgie in there. Georgie will
I
smash
like
him.
that. I think that's the best option. If he doesn't want to, because George will mow him down anyway.
Yeah.
You come from behind.
Oh, you get the little flick handball out and maybe hold the man.
Oh, jeez. Oh, God. We'll do a couple more before we finish up. Bo Hawkins, what red wine did you decide to have with you? I don't know how to say this word, so I'm going to say cheese board.
Yeah, okay, cheese board.
Well, actually, I had a couple of, what are the Japanese beers? What are they called?
Asahi?
Yeah, I had a couple of them. Because they came in the American style 500ml cans. I like the big cans.
Yeah.
Because that's 2 beers in one. It
Yeah,
saves getting up during the game because I won't do that.
No, gets you through a quarter.
It does. So, yeah, that was my choice. And
Might have to add him to the watch list. Baz, and the members.
He's already on the watch
not
list.
a shin bone.
What did I put you on the watch list for?
for the merch, we're not going back over that.
Merch.
No.
Last one here from Deb O'Connor before we finish up. What do you and Chief think of this? Jacko on PC playing... That would not have been so nail-biting. I know we had standout players today and plenty of good ins, but that was very nearly an L. Happy with the win, but couldn't watch in the end. I know a lot of supporters couldn't watch the last 2 minutes after the last month of close finishes, but a good finish this week. Jacko.
Well, I don't think it was a good finish. It was a good result, but the finish was all Richmond. It was just whether they kicked straight.
Well, it wasn't a finish where they kicked the goal, is more what I meant.
Yeah, well, that was good. That's because I was going miss on the TV.
You're taking credit.
And it worked.
Get stuffed, Clarko. It's you saying miss that got the win.
Yeah, well, made Toronto miss. So it was a bit of karma.
It was Big Toby saved the day.
Yeah, he did.
One and 0 at the
Absolutely.
G.
Yeah, well, the boys and celebrated well by it looks. Yeah, well, there was a few of them that
Unless
they
he
got
played there
to.
last year. I'm not sure if he did. I can't remember.
Riley Hardiman, Colby, Moose.
They're all loving it, but they
Durs.
are 1 and 0 there, aren't they? Some of them.
Yeah. They had put a video up on the site. They had like 5 or 6 of them. But right, that's just about us. Thanks again, everyone, for all your questions. We had a lot similar, so we just name one and sort of try and cover them all. But it's the best part of the pod, isn't it, Chief?
It is. Love it.
If you can, please like, subscribe, whatever listening platform you're using. Really appreciate all the support to everyone who has thus far. We know you're real ones when you do that, so thank you for your support. The merch is still there if you would like to buy any of that.
If you'd like to buy some merch, you don't have to worry about Bazza having worn it previously because he just won't wear his own merch.
All right, that's just about us. Frog, thanks so much for jumping on, and congratulations on your first winning podcast.
Thanks, guys, for having me on.
No, it's good to be on get you on for a win. You have to come in the AFLW season. You'll be on every week.
Yeah.
Well, actually, quick grind my gears. Someone's going away again in September for a little mid-season break,
watch
so
list.
you'll be he'll be
You'll both be on the watch list.
yeah. So you'll be on for
touch with
about
the common people.
four straight winning pods then.
Well, I think mid-September, as optimistic as I can be, I don't think the men's will be playing.
Well, here we come. Here we come.
The streak's coming.
Mathematically, still possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, thanks again for your support and for listening. A long pod, but lots of thoughts to get in after a 4-point win. Hope you enjoyed the song at the start. Let's get it going one more time. Thanks again. Go Roos!
Good old North Melbourne, they're champions, you'll agree. North Melbourne is the team that plays to win for you and me.